Here we have got a bunch of questions which are like mostly previous year questions and some of the similar questions, especially from first year part. So let us see each of them very carefully. So the first question, the number of atoms present in 1 mole of an element is equal to Avogadro's number. So that is the number of particles in 1 mole of any substance. Which of the following element contains the greatest number of atoms? So we have to find out greatest number of atoms, and for finding out greatest number we require number of moles. So that is the first thing which we have to find out. The greatest number, for greatest number we need number of moles first. So first let us see number of moles of helium in basically first option, that is 4 divided by 4 gram per mole. So that's equal to 1 mole. That means number of atoms will be 1 Na, where Na is our Avogadro number. Then 46 gram of sodium. 46 gram of sodium means number of moles of sodium is equal to 46 by 23, because we have the atomic mass of sodium 23. So it's 2 moles, that means number of atoms here is 2 Na. Then here the third case, number of moles of calcium is 0.40 by 40, so that's equal to 0.01, so that is 0.01 Na. And the last case, 12 gram of helium, number of moles of helium here will be 12 divided by 4, that's equal to 3, so number of atoms will be 3 Na. So if you see here, it's very evident that our answer should be fourth option, because that has greatest number of atoms, because 3 times Avogadro number of atoms are present. So that is the answer, option 4. Let's move on to next question. Yes. Sulfuric acid reacts with sodium hydroxide as follows. The reaction is given and we have to find out the here the question is the pair of ions having same electronic configuration is. So illi namge electronic configuration find out madbeku. For that we need basically electronic configuration of each species here. Chromium 3 plus, chromium in a atomic number 24. So chromium has electronic configuration of argon 3d5 4s1. So plus 3 andre idu d3 agutte, argon 3d3 agutte. And Fe3 plus, Fe3 plus is 26. Basically we need to know atomic number of the elements up to zinc compulsory. So it is argon 3d6 4s2. This is our electronic configuration for iron. Then here Fe3 plus means it will become argon 3d5. Then we have Mn2 plus here. So that means this is not the answer anyway. Next we will go for second option, that is Mn2 plus here. Mn is actually 25. So it is argon 3d5 4s2. So Mn plus 2 will have argon 3d5. So if we see, this is 5. If we see, these two have same electronic configuration. So this will be our answer. The pair of ions having same electronic configuration. So these two have same electronic configuration, that will be our answer. So essentially it's a very direct question if you know electronic configuration. Let's move on to next question. Here the question is, out of the following pairs of electrons, identify the pairs of electrons present in degenerate orbital. What is degenerate orbital? Degenerate orbital is orbital with same energy. So that is degenerate orbital. Essentially it should be in same subshell. Orbital present in same subshell will be degenerate orbital. So let us see. Now what to check? Checking is very simple. We have to look for n plus L value. So here the first option, if you see, n equal to 3, L equal to 2. So these things can be checked later. So here these two have same n plus L value. That means they both belong to same subshell. So of course having n plus L value same doesn't always mean same orbital or same subshell, but here it does. 3D, this is also 3D. So this is our answer actually. So with two different, basically ML means they are in two different orbital. So these are singly occupied electrons. So this is possible and this is our answer. If you look at the other options to just for the reaffirmation, here it is going to be 3p and it is 3d here. So this is not a degenerate, electron in degenerate orbital. Then we have 4p and 3d. Though n plus L value is same, but they both are not in same orbital or same subshell. So this is not our answer. Then we have the next 3p and 3d. Again these two are not going to give us a degenerate orbital. So that's our answer, option 1. Let's move on to next question. Yeah, here the question is, among halogens, the correct order of amount of energy released in electron gain is. So electron gain enthalpy is what you have to see. We know in 17th group, the third period element has a higher electron gain, that is chlorine, then fluorine, then bromine and then iodine. So this is the order. However, here what they have given is slightly different, because they have given a particular order which is wrong. This is also wrong. So if you see here, this is what actually matches the required order. So our answer is option 3. Let's move on to next question. Here the question is, which of the following is the correct order of size of the given species? The species are I minus, then I and I plus. We should know anions are always larger than the neutral atom. So anions are always larger than neutral atom, and neutral atom is always larger than the cation. So this will be our expected order, and it's a very direct question. So our answer is 4th option. Let's move on to next question. Here the question is, isostructural species are those which have the same shape and hybridization. So both are important, hybridization and shape. Now among the given species, identify the isostructural species or isostructural pairs. So let's see NF3 and BF3. NF3 structure is something like this, and it is called pyramidal because it has a lone pair, and BF3 is trigonal planar because it is sp2 hybrid and this is sp3 hybrid. Okay, so this is not the answer. Next is BF4 minus and NH4 plus. BF4 minus is tetrahedral with the negative sign on boron. So it is sp3 and tetrahedral, whereas NH4 plus, if we see, this is also tetrahedral and sp3. So our answer is option 2. Very clear. We can actually go through other options also, because it's a good practice to analyze all the options when we are practicing. Obviously in exam, if we have got one answer and we are sure that it is answer, then we can go ahead. But here let us analyze. BCl3, again BCl3 is similar to BF3 actually. So if I have to show you, so this is our BCl3 and BrCl3 has a different structure. It is actually T shape. It has two lone pairs like this. So it is a T shape and it's sp3d hybrid trigonal bipyramidal geometry. Shape is T shape. Here BCl3 is trigonal planar and it is sp2 hybrid. And here again NH4 plus, already we have seen it's tetrahedral, and NO4 minus is actually a dummy option. It is not correct. If at all it is NO2 minus, still it is not going to be tetrahedral. It's a basically nitro group, and NO2 minus is nitrite ion. It's basically something like this. So it's a sp2 hybrid bent shape. Okay. So our answer is option 2. Let's move on to next question. Yes, let us see this question. Which of the following statement is not correct from the viewpoint of molecular orbital theory? See, molecular orbital theory is one of the very important aspects where questions are repeatedly asked. I should say repeatedly asked, because compulsorily you will get one question from this section. So molecular orbital theory is very important, and we should note it's only molecular orbital theory, nothing else. Okay, so fine. Be2 is not a stable molecule. So how do we recognize this? Actually we have to write molecular orbital configuration for Be2. Beryllium has total 4 electrons. So it is sigma 1s2, sigma star 1s2, sigma 2s2, sigma star 2s2. So Be2 total has 8 electrons. So this will be the electronic configuration for Be2. Now here if you see, total number of anti-bonding electrons is same as that of bonding electrons. So bond order becomes 0. 0 bond order indicates the non-existence of particular molecule. That's the conclusion of molecular orbital theory. So first one is actually correct. So we have to find out not correct. So that is important point to note. He2 is not stable, but He2 plus is expected to exist. Yes, it is possible. He2 configuration, if we see, He2 configuration is helium has 2 electrons. So it is sigma 1s2, sigma 1s2, sigma star 1s2. So now here bond order becomes 0 for He2, but He2 plus means you have to reduce 1 electron here. You have to reduce 1 electron here and it will become 1. Now you have a bond order, partial bond order, but theoretically this molecule can exist. So this is our correct statement. Bond strength of N2 is maximum amongst the homonuclear diatomic molecules belonging to the second period. It's absolutely correct. Bond order is 3 for nitrogen. We know its electronic configuration, so I am not going to write it again. Fourth one, the order of the energies of molecular orbitals in N2 molecule is, yes, look at this order. This is actually star, and here this 2pz should actually come after pi orbitals. That is the concept of 2s 2p mixing, which we generally study at higher level. So that phenomena occurs in case of lighter elements like basically nitrogen and the lighter ones. So here this 2pz should have come here. So this is our answer now, which is incorrect statement for molecular orbital theory. Let's move on to next question. Yes, here the question is, which of the following species have the same shape? Again shape, that means we have to look at hybridization and we have to look at the geometry of the molecule. So let's see the structure and hybridization. When they both become same, then they are called isostructural species. Here first molecule is carbon dioxide. If I draw carbon dioxide for you, carbon dioxide is like this. It's a linear molecule. CCl4 is basically tetrahedral and sp3 tetrahedral. Next is O3. O3 has a structure something like this. So this is the coordinate bond here, and there is a one lone pair. So it's a bent structure, and the hybridization of central oxygen here is sp2. And next one we have is NO2 minus. So again NO2 minus geometry is something similar to O3. It's again a coordinate bond, and there is a negative charge over nitrogen here, and yes, the hybridization here is sp2 and it is bent. So if you see here, this is also bent, this is also bent or V shape. So our answer becomes, the molecules C and D have identical shape. That means our answer is option 3. Okay. I hope you are able to understand the structures. Let's move on to next question. Yeah, here the pressure of a 1:4 mixture of dihydrogen and dioxygen enclosed in a vessel is 1 atmosphere. So this is the pressure, total pressure. The question as it goes appears to be from Dalton's law. Okay, what would be the partial pressure of dioxygen? Look at that. So it's basically a question on Dalton's law. 1:4 mixture of dihydrogen and dioxygen. So by default, in the absence of indication on whether it is a mole ratio or mass ratio, we assume it as a mole ratio by default. So number of moles of hydrogen is to number of moles of oxygen is equal to 1:4. This is very important. Now from this, what we can assume is that mole fraction of H2 is 1/5 and mole fraction of O2 is equal to 4/5. This is the mole fraction. Once we know mole fraction, then finding out partial pressure is very easy. According to Dalton's law, we have PO2 is equal to XO2 into P total. Now P total is 1 atm. So XO2, if we see, it is 4/5 into 4/5 into 1 atm. So it's basically 0.8 atm. Now 0.8 atm, if you look at the option, is not matching. So it's 0.8 into 10 power 5 atm, not possible. 0.008 Newton per meter square, not possible. It's not 0.8 atm. 0.25 atm is also not very correct, because they are asking dioxygen, pressure of dioxygen. This is not correct. This is also wrong. So what remains as an answer is this one. Now here there is a minor difference. When I convert atm to bar, it's actually 1.013 into 10 power 5 Pascal or Newton per meter square. Now it should have been basically the number should have been something slightly different than this, but it's okay for us. 0.8 atm is approximately 0.8 into 10 power 5 Pascal. So here it is option 3. So it should be 8 into 10 power 4 Newton per meter square. So that was question on Dalton's law. So let's move on to next question. Yeah, the question here actually targets for liquefaction, basically critical temperature. Gases possess characteristic critical temperature which depends upon the magnitude of intermolecular forces between the particles. Following are the critical temperatures. So these are critical temperatures in Kelvin, and from the above data, what would be the order of liquefaction of these gases? Start writing the order from the gas liquefying first. So we should know one important point: critical temperature. Higher the critical temperature, easier it is to liquefy. So those gases which have high intermolecular force will have higher critical temperature and they can be easily liquefied. Now if you see, critical temperature for O2 is highest here. That means it can easily be liquefied. The most easily liquefied gas among these is oxygen. So we have to write first oxygen, then it is nitrogen, then it is hydrogen, then helium. So if you see, it's option 4. So next question. What amount of dioxygen in grams contains 1.8 into 10 power 22 molecules? Again, this question is based on mole concept or stoichiometry, I should say. So if we take number of moles of, basically amount of oxygen they have asked in gram. So weight of oxygen is equal to 32 into number of moles of oxygen. Because they have given number of molecules, it's better that we find out number of moles. So I can actually directly substitute here. Is equal to 32 into number of molecules divided by total number of molecules in 1 mole. That is 1.8 into 10 power 22 divided by, in 1 mole how many molecules will be there? Avogadro number of molecules, 6 into 10 power 23 is approximate, because it is 1.8, I am taking it as 6 because it will get cancelled easily. So now I can actually adjust this as 32 into, I make it 18. So if I make it 18, it will be 10 power 21 divided by 6 into 10 power 23. So now it is 3 times, and here it is 10 power 2. So it's basically 32 into 3 divided by 100. So 0.96. So this is the mass of oxygen present in this many molecules. So basically the answer, whatever we have to mark, is option 2. Let's move on to next question. The next question what we are going to discuss is on molecular orbital theory. Using molecular orbital theory, compare O2 plus and O2 minus species and choose the incorrect option. Very important, it's incorrect option. Okay, O2 plus have the higher bond order than O2 minus. So for better understanding, I would like to write molecular orbital electronic configuration for oxygen. So that is sigma 1s2, sigma star 1s2, sigma 2s2, sigma star 2s2. After sigma star, it is sigma 2pz2, pi 2p x2, pi 2p y2, and after this pi star 2p x1, pi star 2p y1. So this is considering z axis as an internuclear axis. So now this is O2, this is for O2, electronic configuration for O2. O2 plus have higher bond order than O2 minus. O2 plus means this electron will not be there. O2 plus does not have this electron. So number of bonding electrons minus number of anti-bonding electrons divided by 2 will give higher bond order compared to O2 minus. So this is a correct statement and it cannot be a wrong statement. We have to mark incorrect option. O2 minus is less stable. In general, O2 minus has one more electron here, so it will become 2. As I increase number of antibonding electrons, obviously species becomes more unstable because it's also decreasing the bond order. So this is also correct. Next, O2 minus is diamagnetic while O2 plus is paramagnetic. Now O2 minus isn't diamagnetic. This guy is not diamagnetic because here we have one unpaired electron. So this has to be paramagnetic. So this is our basically, yeah, the statements are correct here also, but that's not the answer. This statement is wrong statement. So they have asked incorrect statement, hence our answer will be option 3. Let's move on to next question. Here the question is, in the reaction S plus 3 by 2 O2 giving rise to SO3 plus 2x kilojoules and SO2 plus half O2 giving rise to SO3 plus y kilojoules, heat of formation of SO2 is. So basically this is a thermodynamics question based on thermochemistry. So what we need to do is, they have asked for the reaction, what we require is S plus O2 giving rise to SO2. We require enthalpy change for this particular reaction. Let's consider these two reactions and try to get this reaction. So what we do is, we take these two reactions, S plus 3 by 2 O2 giving rise to SO3 plus 2x, and here I need to write this reaction reversed. In that way, I can write SO3 giving rise to half O2 plus SO2 minus y, because energy for this reaction it is getting liberated, and for reverse reaction obviously it should get absorbed. Now if I add these two reactions, what I get? These two species get cancelled out. These two species get cancelled out, and here 3 by 2 O2 and half O2. So it's S plus O2 giving rise to SO2, and here I just have to add these two, that is 2x minus y. So this is our answer. Heat of formation is 2x minus y. So option 3 is our answer. Let's move on to next one. Yeah, yet another tricky one. This question is very interesting. This is basically enthalpy of, it's a internal energy of formation, delta U naught of formation of CH4 at certain temperature is minus 393 kilojoule per mole. The value of delta HF, that is standard enthalpy of formation, is. So standard internal energy of formation is given. We have to find out standard enthalpy of formation. How these two quantities are related is what we want to find out. See, let us first look at the reaction. For formation of CH4, it is carbon solid, that is graphite, plus 2H2 gives rise to CH4 gas. For this reaction, if I write, it will be delta H naught of formation is equal to delta U naught of formation plus delta Ng RT. What is this delta Ng? This delta Ng is nothing but the number of moles of product, gaseous product, minus number of moles of gaseous reactants. This we have learnt in thermodynamics. Now here, what is delta Ng for this reaction? delta Ng is 1 minus 2, that's equal to minus 1. So if I substitute minus here, it will be delta naught of U minus RT. So from this expression, we can see enthalpy of formation will be less than internal energy of formation. So option 2 will be correct answer. Let's move on to next question. The question here we have got is on equilibrium. We know that the relationship between Kp and Kc is Kp equal to Kc into RT power delta N. What would be the value of delta N for the reaction? The given reaction is this. We have to find out just delta N. What is delta N? Delta N is number of moles of gaseous products minus number of moles of gaseous reactants. So this will be Np minus Nr. So here number of moles of gaseous products is 2, and here reactants, if we see, only one substance is there, but that is solid, it is not gas. So it is 0, that's equal to 2. So our answer here delta N is 2, option 4. Let's move on to next question. Yeah, the question we have got here is the pair of compound which cannot exist together in the solution. So this basically depends upon the reactivity of the species which we have got here. So if we see NaHCO3 and NaOH, ಎರಡು ಯಾವ ತರ ಇದೆ? It is acid. I mean it's acidic salt. ಇದು ನಮಗೆ base. So the mixture will surely react. So NaHCO3 plus NaOH reacts to give Na2CO3 plus H2O. So ಇದೆರಡು ಒಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಇಡಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ. So that is our answer. Okay. So NaHCO3 ಮತ್ತೆ NaOH ಒಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಇಡಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ ಅದು. So they cannot exist together. ಉಳಿದಿದ್ದೆಲ್ಲ they can exist together. ಇವೆರಡು ಬೇಸ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? And yeah, this components, they both can exist together because they form actually a buffer solution. But here one is a strong base and another one is a acidic salt. So they both cannot exist together. Let's move on to next question. Now the next question is, which of the following alkenes on ozonolysis gives a mixture of ketones only? So mixture of ketones only andre the compound, basically the carbon containing double bond should not have hydrogen. So namge ozonolysis ella gotte ide. So it basically reacts with the double bond. So let me just write the products of ozonolysis for each of them. For first one, the ozonolysis product is basically when we break down this double bond and we just add oxygen there. So it will be CH3 CHO plus CH3 CHO. This is our product for ozonolysis of first compound. Second compound ಏನು ಕೊಡುತ್ತೆ? Second compound ಇಲ್ಲಿದೆ ಡಬಲ್ ಬಾಂಡ್, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಎರಡೆರಡು ಹೈಡ್ರೋಜನ್ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಇದು ಒಂದು ಆಲ್ಡಿಹೈಡ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಫಾರ್ಮಾಲ್ಡಿಹೈಡ್, ಅದು ಸ್ಪೆಷಲ್ ಆಲ್ಡಿಹೈಡ್ ಫಾರ್ಮಾಲ್ಡಿಹೈಡ್. ಇದು ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಆಲ್ಡಿಹೈಡ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ CH3 CH3 CHO plus HCHO. So
ಸೊ ಇದೆರಡು ನಮಗೆ ಆಲ್ಡಿಹೈಡ್ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ. ಈ ಮೂರನೇ ಕಂಪೌಂಡು ನಮಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ದಿಸ್ 2 ಕಾರ್ಬನ್ಸ್ ಡು ನಾಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಹೈಡ್ರೋಜನ್. ಆಸ್ ಅ ಕಾನ್ಸಿಕ್ವೆನ್ಸ್ ವೆನ್ ಐ ಬ್ರೇಕ್ ದೆಮ್ ಐ ಗೆಟ್ ಒಂದು ಕೀಟೋನ್ ಈ ಥರ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಕೀಟೋನು ಅಸಿಟೋನ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ದೀಸ್ ಆರ್ ದ 2 products which we get in ozonolysis of third compound. ಫೋರ್ತ್ ಕಂಪೌಂಡ್ ನಾವು ಓಝೋನಲೈಸಿಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ಕಾರ್ಬನ್ ಡಸಂಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಹೈಡ್ರೋಜನ್. ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದರೆ ವೆನ್ ವಿ ಆ್ಯಡ್ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಸಿಂಪ್ಲಿ ಗಿವ್ 2 moles ಆಫ್ ದಿಸ್. ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಅವರ್ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಫಾರ್ ಬೇಸಿಕಲಿ ದ ಫೋರ್ತ್ ಕಂಪೌಂಡ್. ಈಗ ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ ನಮಗೆ ಎರಡು ಕಡೆ ಒಂದು ಥರ್ಡ್ ಕಂಪೌಂಡು ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಫೋರ್ತ್ ಕಂಪೌಂಡು, ಎರಡರಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ ಬರೀ ಕೀಟೋನ್ ಸಿಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಸೊ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಟು ದ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಈಸ್ ದಿಸ್ 3 and 4. ಸೊ ಥರ್ಡ್ ಆಪ್ಷನ್ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಲೆಟ್ಸ್ ಮೂವ್ ಆನ್ ಟು ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್. Here the question is match the following ions given in column 1 with their nature in column 2. ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ ಒಂದಿಷ್ಟು ಅಯಾನ್ಸ್ ಅವೈಲೇಬಲ್ ಇದೆ. ಇದು ಪಾಸಿಟಿವ್ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ ಒಂದಿಷ್ಟು ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ಸ್ ಅಥವಾ ನೇಚರನ್ನು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಲೆಟ್ಸ್ ಸಿ ಹಿಯರ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಅನದರ್ ಪಾಸಿಟಿವ್ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ, ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ ಚಾರ್ಜ್. So now if we see this is a cation, first one is cation and it is stabilized by resonance. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಲೋನ್ ಪೇರ್ ಇದೆಯಲ್ವಾ, ಈ ಲೋನ್ ಪೇರ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ರೆಸೊನೆನ್ಸ್ ತೋರಿಸುತ್ತೆ. ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಹೈಪರ್ ಕಾಂಜುಗೇಷನ್ ಸಹ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಇದೆ. ಮತ್ತೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಏನು ಅಂದರೆ ಇದು ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಐ ಎಫೆಕ್ಟ್ ಕೂಡ ತೋರಿಸುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ನಾವು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ ಆಪ್ಷನ್ 1ಗೆ ನಮಗೆ ಎ ಮ್ಯಾಚ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಎ ಮ್ಯಾಚ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅದು ಬಿಟ್ಟರೆ ಸ್ಟೆಬಿಲೈಸ್ ಡ್ಯೂ ಟು ಇಂಡಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಎಫೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ದೆನ್ ಸ್ಟೆಬಿಲೈಸ್ ಡ್ಯೂ ಟು ಹೈಪರ್ ಕಾಂಜುಗೇಷನ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಎ ಬಿ ಸಿ. ಈ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ ಕಾರ್ಬೋಕ್ಯಾಟನ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ and they have asked what is the correct order of decreasing stability of cations. So let us see what is the order. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ ಬೇಸಿಕಲಿ ಬೇಸಿಕ್ ಆರ್ಗ್ಯಾನಿಕ್ ಕೆಮಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿಲಿ ಏನು ಎಫೆಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಓದಿದೀವಲ್ವ, ಆ ಎಫೆಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಕಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಆಫ್ ಆಲ್ ದಿಸ್ ಇಫ್ ಐ ಸಿ, ಈ ಕಾರ್ಬೋಕ್ಯಾಟನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ ಆಕ್ಸಿಜನ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಲೋನ್ ಪೇರ್ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ that can easily resonate. Such a carbocation which has resonance possibility of a lone pair is very stable. So second one tumba stable ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Next, okay, it's most stable, so we just write a different version. Most stable second one ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Next ನಮಗೆ among first one and third one both are secondary carbocation, but ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ 5 alpha hydrogens are there for hyperconjugation. Carbocations ಅಲ್ಲಿ hyperconjugation, then inductive effect ಮತ್ತೆ resonance effect ನೋಡ್ತೀವಲ್ವಾ. In these effects we should know aromaticity takes the precedence in case ಇದ್ರೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಅದಿಲ್ಲ, but if aromaticity comes it will take highest priority, then followed by resonance, then hyperconjugation, then inductive effect. ಇದು ನಮ್ಮ strength of effects in order to stabilize anything. ಸೊ ನಾವು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಕಂಪೌಂಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ ನಮಗೆ 6 ಆಲ್ಫಾ ಹೈಡ್ರೋಜನ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ. ಸೊ ಹೈಯರ್ ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಹೈಪರ್ ಕಾಂಜುಗೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಪಾಸಿಬಲ್. ಸೊ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಆದಮೇಲೆ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಒನ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಸ್ಟೇಬಲ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಇನ್ ಅಡಿಷನ್ ಟು ದಿಸ್ ದರ್ ಈಸ್ ಎ ಮೈನಸ್ ಐ ಗ್ರೂಪ್. ಈ ಮೈನಸ್ ಐ ಗ್ರೂಪು ಈ ಕ್ಯಾಟಯಾನ್ ಮೇಲೆ, ಮೂರನೇ ಕ್ಯಾಟಯಾನ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಇಂಡಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಎಫೆಕ್ಟನ್ನು ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ನಾಟ್ ಬಿ ಮೋರ್ ಸ್ಟೇಬಲ್. So this is least stable. In fact, the third compound, the third species is least stable. So ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು we get option 1. So that's our answer. So let's see the next question. Yes, here the question is 4 structures are given below, examine and select aromatic structure. Very important question based on aromaticity is most expected in any exam, not only in this CET, in other exams also we see questions regarded to this topic. Here if we see, basically we have to apply Huckel's rule. 3 conditions are there for compound to be aromatic. First one is it should be planar. Second one is it should have closed conjugation, complete conjugation should exist. Third point ಬಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ನಮಗೆ it should have 4n plus 2 pi electrons. So ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ 2 pi electrons are there and it is completely delocalized. ಇದು cation ಆಗಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಇದು aromatic ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. So this is aromatic. ಇಲ್ಲಿ next ಈ ಕಂಪೌಂಡ್ ನಮಗೆ this is indication that it is not a planar compound. It is not a planar compound. So it is not aromatic. So it is not aromatic. It's actually non-aromatic. Next ನಮಗೆ ಥರ್ಡ್ ಆಪ್ಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದು 2 ಬೆನ್ಸಿನ್ ರಿಂಗ್ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಎರಡೂವೇ ಅರೋಮ್ಯಾಟಿಕ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಅರೋಮ್ಯಾಟಿಕ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ 10 pi ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್, 10 pi ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ದೇ, ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಅರೋಮ್ಯಾಟಿಕ್. 4ನೇ ಮಾಲಿಕ್ಯೂಲ್ ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ ಇದು ಆನಿಯಾನ್ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ 4 pi ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ ಎಕ್ಸಿಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ರೆಸೊನೆನ್ಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಬಟ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಅನ್ಸ್ಟೇಬಲ್, ಆಂಟಿ ಅರೋಮ್ಯಾಟಿಕ್. ಸೊ ಇದು ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಅನ್ಸ್ಟೇಬಲ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಅರೋಮ್ಯಾಟಿಕ್. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಕಂಪೌಂಡ್ ಮತ್ತು ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಕಂಪೌಂಡ್ ಅರೋಮ್ಯಾಟಿಕ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಇಫ್ ವಿ ಸಿ ಆಪ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಹಿಯರ್, ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ 1 and 3. So it is option 2. So that is our answer. Let's move on to next question. Here the question is about IUPAC naming, one of the important aspects where we can expect questions surely. Correct IUPAC name for. So ಇದು ಒಂದು ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಕೇನ್ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ನಾವು ರೂಲ್ಸ್ ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡೋದು ಈಸಿ. ಸೊ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಬೇಸಿಕಲಿ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಫೈಂಡ್ ಔಟ್ ದ ಲಾಂಗೆಸ್ಟ್ ಚೈನ್. 1, 2, there are 2 carbons, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So there are 2 carbons here also. So total we have got 6 carbons, so it should be hexane, and at 3rd and 4th position we have methyl group. So it is 3, 4 dimethyl hexane. So ನಮಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಆಪ್ಷನ್ 2 ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಲೆಟ್ಸ್ ಮೂವ್ ಆನ್ ಟು ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್. H2O2 cannot oxidize. H2O2 ನಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದ್ದ ಹಾಗೆ ಇಟ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಸ್ ಅ ಆಕ್ಸಿಡೈಸಿಂಗ್ ಏಜೆಂಟ್ ಆಸ್ ವೆಲ್ ಆಸ್ ರೆಡ್ಯೂಸಿಂಗ್ ಏಜೆಂಟ್. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಆಕ್ಸಿಡೈಸಿಂಗ್ ಏಜೆಂಟ್ ಅದು ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಇನ್ನು PbS ಇದು ಇಟ್ ಕೆನಾಟ್ ಆಕ್ಸಿಡೈಸ್. Pb+2 ಕೆನಾಟ್ ಆ್ಯಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಆಕ್ಸಿಡೈಸ್ H2O2. ನಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದ್ದ ಪ್ರಕಾರ PbS ಗೆಟ್ಸ್ ಕನ್ವರ್ಟೆಡ್ ಟು PbSO4 ಇನ್ ಪ್ರೆಸೆನ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ H2O2. Na2SO3 ಇದು ರೆಡ್ಯೂಸಿಂಗ್ ಏಜೆಂಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಇದು ಇಟ್ಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಎ ಗುಡ್ ಆಕ್ಸಿಡೈಸಿಂಗ್ ಏಜೆಂಟ್. Ki again it's not a oxidizing agent. ಇಲ್ಲಿ O3 is a oxidizing agent. In fact stronger oxidizing agent compared to H2O2. ಇದು ನಮಗೆ ಆಪ್ಷನ್ 3 ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಲೆಟ್ಸ್ ಸಿ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್. Yeah, here the next question is, which of the following compounds is used for water softening? So water softening is a very important area where application of chemistry is seen. So ನಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದ್ದ ಹಾಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ 2 types of hardness we see. One is temporary hardness, that is due to bicarbonates, and permanent hardness, that is due to chlorides, sulfates and phosphates. Basically calcium ಮತ್ತು magnesium salts causes hardness. ನಮಗೆ there are several methods in which we basically remove hardness. ಈ ಒಂದು ಆಪ್ಷನ್ಗಳನ್ನು ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ ಇದು ಅಲ್ಲ, ಇದು ಸಾಧ್ಯನೇ ಇಲ್ಲ. Here this is the compound actually called as Calgon, sodium hexametaphosphate. So this is our compound which is used to purify or remove hardness of water. That is Kalgan method. Let's move on to next question. Here the question is elements of which of the following groups of periodic table do not form hydrides. ಕೆಲವೊಂದಿಷ್ಟು ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ಸು ಹೈಡ್ರೈಡ್ಸನ್ನು ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ, ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಹೈಡ್ರೈಡ್ ಗ್ಯಾಪ್ ಇನ್ ಪೀರಿಯಾಡಿಕ್ ಟೇಬಲ್. ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಗ್ರೂಪು ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಗ್ರೂಪ್ ನಮಗೆ ಆಲ್ಕಲಿ ಮೆಟಲ್ಸ್, ಆಲ್ಕಲೈನ್ ಅರ್ತ್ ಮೆಟಲ್ಸ್ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಅಯಾನಿಕ್ ಹೈಡ್ರೈಡ್ಸ್. ಮೆನಿ ನಾನ್ ಮೆಟಲ್ಸ್ ಟುವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ದ ಪಿ ಬ್ಲಾಕ್ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಬೇಸಿಕಲಿ covalent or molecular hydrides, and D block metals form a different type of hydride called interstitial hydrides, and in that also some of them do not form hydrides. Group number 7, 8 and 9, this forms hydride gap. That's why here answer to our question is option 1. ಇದು ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್ನು. ಒಂದು ಸಿಂಪಲ್ ಟ್ರಿಕ್, ಇನ್ಆರ್ಗ್ಯಾನಿಕ್ ಕೆಮಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿ ಏನೇನಿದೆ ಅದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಒಂದು ಲಿಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೆ. ಬೇಸಿಕಲಿ ವೆನ್ ವಿ ನೋಟ್ ಡೌನ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಟು ರಿಮೆಂಬರ್, ವಿ ಡೋಂಟ್ ಫರ್ಗೆಟ್ ದೆಮ್. ಅವಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಈ ಥರ ಕ್ವಶನ್ಗಳು ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟಾಗಿ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. ಇಟ್ ಟೇಕ್ಸ್ ಹಾರ್ಡ್ಲಿ 10 seconds ಫಾರ್ ಅಸ್. ಸೊ ದಟ್ಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಟ್ರಿಕ್ ಟು ಫಾಲೋ. ಲೆಟ್ಸ್ ಮೂವ್ ಆನ್ ಟು ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್. Next question here we have is on silicon. Silicon has a strong tendency to form polymers like silicones. Silicones are formed from silicon. Okay. The chain length of silicone polymer can be controlled by adding. So basically ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ trimethyl or trialkyl silicon chloride is what we use. Trialkyl silicon chloride is what we use for controlling the chain length. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ ಎರಡು ಥರದ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಒಂದು, ವಿಚ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಫಾಲೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಈಸ್ ಯೂಸ್ಡ್ ಫಾರ್ ಬೇಸಿಕಲಿ ಚೈನ್ ಪಾಲಿಮರ್ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಅವಾಗ ಅದು R2SiCl2 ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದಿಸ್ ಕಂಪೌಂಡ್ ವಿಲ್ ನಾಟ್ ಬಿ ಏಬಲ್ ಟು ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಬೇಸಿಕಲಿ ಚೈನ್ ಐಸೋಮರ್, ಬಟ್ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಆ್ಯಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಪಾಲಿಮರ್ ವಿಚ್ ಇಸ್ ನೆಟ್ವರ್ಕ್ ಟೈಪ್ ಆಫ್ ಪಾಲಿಮರ್. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಚೈನ್ ಟರ್ಮಿನೇಷನ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಇದು ಕಂಟ್ರೋಲ್, ಲೆಂತ್ ಕಂಟ್ರೋಲ್ ಹೇಗೆ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂದರೆ ವಿ ಆ್ಯಡ್ ದಿಸ್ ಕಂಪೌಂಡ್. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ವಿಲ್ ಆ್ಯಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಬ್ಲಾಕ್ ದ ಚೈನ್ because there is only one OH group which comes here after hydrolysis that is going to block the chain length. So ಈ ಒಂದು ಕಂಪೌಂಡ್ಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ Me2SiCl2 is used for chain isomer or chain polymer, and MESiCl3 is used for network silicone polymer, and for terminating the chain we use this. Let's move on to next question. Here the question is, thiosulfate reacts differently with iodine and bromine in the reactions given below. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಥಿಯೋಸಲ್ಫೇಟ್ ರಿಯಾಕ್ಷನ್ ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ I2 is getting converted to I minus, and here the oxidation state is actually average oxidation state at +2 ಇಂದ +2.5 ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ. So that is the change. ಇಲ್ಲಿ Br2 is changing to Br minus, so it's again acting as an oxidizing agent. ಆದರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ average oxidation state 2 ಇಂದ ಇಲ್ಲಿ +6 ಬಂದಿದೆ. ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ ಆಕ್ಸಿಡೇಷನ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ತುಂಬಾ ಇನ್ಕ್ರೀಸ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಸೊ ಲೆಟ್ ಅಸ್ ಸಿ. Bromine is a stronger oxidant than iodine. So illi bromine is changing the oxidation state of sulfur from +2 to +6. That means it's a stronger oxidizing agent compared to iodine, which is changing from +2 to 2.5 here. So this statement becomes correct statement. Let us just go through other statements as well. Bromine is a weaker oxidant than iodine. So this cannot be true because already we have said first statement is correct. Thiosulfate undergoes oxidation by bromine and reduction by iodine. This is wrong. Again, obviously bromine undergoes oxidation and iodine undergoes reduction. Again, this is also wrong. So our answer is option 1. This is a very good question based on relative tendencies of oxidation and reduction. Let's move on to next question. Here the question is sulfuric acid reacts with sodium hydroxide as follows. So reaction kottidare. The concentration of sodium sulfate formed when 1 liter of 0.1 m sulfuric acid reacts with 1 liter of 0.1 m sodium hydroxide is. So idu question namage limiting reagent mele bandide. So we have to first write reaction here. H2SO4 plus 2NaOH gives rise to Na2SO4 plus 2H2O. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಮೋಲ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ H2SO4 ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆ? 1 ಲೀಟರ್ ಆಫ್ 0.1 m sulfuric acid ಅಂದರೆ 1 ಲೀಟರ್ ಇಂಟು 0.1 m. ಮೊಲಾರಿಟಿ ಇಂಟು ವಾಲ್ಯೂಮ್ ಗಿವ್ಸ್ ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಮೋಲ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ 0.1 mole. Similarly, what is the quantity of NaOH present? That is also 0.1 mole. ಯಾಕೆಂದರೆ ಅದುವೇ 1 ಲೀಟರ್ ಆಫ್ 0.1 m ಸೋಡಿಯಂ ಹೈಡ್ರಾಕ್ಸೈಡ್. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ ಮೋಲಾರ್ ರೇಷಿಯೋ ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ, ಸ್ಟೋಕ್ಯೋಮೆಟ್ರಿ ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ ಇದು 2 ಇದೆ. ದಟ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ 2 moles ಆಫ್ NaOH ಗಿವ್ 1 mole ಆಫ್ Na2SO4. ಓಕೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗಿದ್ದು ಏನು ಅಂದರೆ 2 moles ಆಫ್ NaOH ರಿಕ್ವೈರ್ 1 mole ಆಫ್ H2SO4. ಅಂದರೆ 0.1 mole H2SO4ಗೆ ನಮಗೆ 0.2 mole ಆಫ್ NaOH ಬೇಕಾಗಿತ್ತು. ಬಟ್ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ದೇರ್. ದಟ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ದಿಸ್ ಈಸ್ ಅವರ್ ಲಿಮಿಟಿಂಗ್ ರಿಯೇಜೆಂಟ್. The identification of limiting reagents is very important, and after finding out limiting reagent we should calculate all other quantities with respect to this only, because this is our limiting reagent. Now 2 moles of NaOH gives 1 mole of Na2SO4. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆ? 0.1 mole ಮಾತ್ರ ಇದೆ. ಎಷ್ಟು ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ? So it's a unitary technique. Number of moles of Na2SO4 formed is equal to 0.1 mole divided by 2. That's equal to 0.05 mole. ಇಷ್ಟು ಮೋಲ್ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ ನಮಗೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಕೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂದರೆ ದ ಮೊಲಾರಿಟಿ, ದ ಕಾನ್ಸಂಟ್ರೇಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಸೋಡಿಯಂ ಸಲ್ಫೇಟ್ ಕೇಳಿದ್ದು. ಸೊ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಮೋಲ್ಸ್. The total volume is 2 liter because we have added 1 liter of sulfuric acid and 1 liter of sodium hydroxide. So molarity is equal to number of moles, that is 0.05 divided by 2, because 2 liter is the total volume. So molarity is equal to 0.025 m. So ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ ಆಪ್ಷನ್ ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಆಪ್ಷನ್ 3. ಸೊ ಅದು ನಮ್ಮ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಈ ಥರ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಷನ್ ಬೇಸ್ಡ್ ಆನ್ ಲಿಮಿಟಿಂಗ್ ರಿಯೇಜೆಂಟನ್ನು ತುಂಬ ಕೇರ್ಫುಲಿ ಸಾಲ್ವ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ದೆನ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್.